Hi, I'm Andre, and Avengers Endgame is coming to Regal Cinemas on April 26th. Now, of course, we've had Avengers movies and team-ups in the past, but sometimes an Avenger or two likes to pop up in a Marvel superhero solo film as well. So let's look back at some of my personal favorite Marvel movie cameos, and feel free to add some of your favorites in the comments. But we gotta start off with how all of this started off. You're watching the first Iron Man, you're loving the movie, you're loving Robert Downey Jr.'s take on Tony Stark. You have seen Iron Man now move up to the A-League of superheroes. What could make this better? An after-credit scene where Tony Stark comes home and in his house is Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury telling him about the Avengers Initiative. It begins. This was our first glimpse into seeing that the Marvel movies were going to be connected, and also taught us to not leave the theater when the credits start rolling during a Marvel movie. You never know what might pop up. So it should come to no surprise that Nick Fury is in most of the Marvel movies, including the recently released Captain Marvel and the upcoming Spider-Man Far From Home. And even Tony Stark pulled a Nick Fury at the end credits of The Incredible Hulk, meeting up with General Ross, who then shows up in Captain America Civil War. Now, Hawkeye and Black Widow have been Avengers for quite some time, but they didn't have their own movies. So how did we first meet them? Well, you can see them both working for S.H.I.E.L.D. in different movies. Black Widow shows up in Iron Man 2, while Hawkeye shows up in the first Thor movie. Now, Loki is always up to his tricks, but the one he pulls off in Thor: The Dark World is one of the best. In a conversation with Thor about what form he should take to escape Asgard, he mentions Thor's new companions, and then all of a sudden, Loki turns himself into Captain America. In Iron Man 3, Tony Stark is narrating the entire story. So who is he telling the story to? Well, in the after credits, you find out he's telling the story to Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Now let's talk about Ant-Man. Not only do we get a cameo from Peggy Carter, who is usually seen in the Captain America movies, but there's a scene in Ant-Man where he has to break into Avengers headquarters to get a piece of tech for Hank Pym. And in doing so, he has a run-in with Falcon, who apparently is the only Avenger who happens to be at the headquarters at that time. Is this like that Deadpool thing where there are no other X-Men around? During the after-credit scene at Black Panther, we see that Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, is still in Wakanda after being dropped off there to get healed after the events of Captain America Civil War. During the after credits of Doctor Strange, we see that Doctor Strange is having a conversation with Thor about, of course, Loki. This scene then gets extended in Thor Ragnarok, where Stephen Strange and Thor go after Loki before Thor gets taken off to another planet where he has to fight in a tournament against the Hulk. Lots of cameos in that one. Now, from the trailers, we knew that Iron Man was going to be a large part of Spider-Man Homecoming, which makes sense since Tony Stark recruited Peter Parker in Captain America Civil War. But it was a nice surprise to see Captain America in Spider-Man Homecoming doing a number of PSAs, including a very hilarious one at the end. Now, of course, Thanos was the big baddie in Avengers Infinity War, but we saw him coming. We saw an after-credit scene of him in the Avengers and another one in Avengers Age of Ultron, and then of course we saw his ship land right in front of the Asgard ship at the end of Thor Ragnarok. And of course we can't talk about cameos without talking about Stan Lee, who's been able to do a cameo for every single one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. He even has a cameo in the upcoming Avengers Endgame. Thank you, Stan. And finally, Howard the Duck. He shows up in both Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I just think that's worth noting. Do we miss your favorite Marvel movie cameo? Let me know. Also tell us some of your favorite Marvel team-ups. They can be from the movies, the TV shows, the cartoons, or the comic books. And be sure to check out Avengers Endgame coming to Regal Cinemas on April 26th.